We can all play with the new Teams Translate features, right?
Yeah, why not?
Or Azure does have a Klingon transcription service, but I don't know that anybody's actually validated its accuracy.
If anybody can wish me kapla, then yeah, for today's call. Welcome everybody to the Microsoft 365 Power Platform call. This is community call on Tuesdays, usually presented by Microsoft folks, but with a bit of a community takeover over the summer period. So my host Paul Bullock, so I work at Avanade, and we're going to run through some really cool stuff for you today. So our agenda today is we've got loads of news and goodies on the Microsoft 365 Power Platform, and then we've got 3 awesome demos coming up for Matthew Barbour about the multi-agent patterns and M365 Agent SDK. We've got Fabian with the M365 Copilot Retrieval API and M365 Agents SDK. And Katerina to go through her term buddy as part of the PowerFull Devs Hackathon Winner. So super cool demos coming up. So lots and lots of goodies to look forward to. As we're part of PMP, so we've got loads of resources for you, the community resources. We've built up just 1 or 2 over the course of 10, 11, 12 years. So you've got a vast array of resources in YouTube. We've got LinkedIn communities. We've got open source repositories, to name a few. We've got all these sample galleries, and we've got all these resources for you. So if you're new to the community and you want to build up and learn stuff, check out these resources. But this is a lot to learn. So check out the aka.ms community home. You get that single link, that single pane of glass to all this cool stuff for your consumption in your projects, in your own personal learning. So it's all free to use. So just go there and check it out, and I won't be disappointed. We've also got multiple community calls. So this isn't the only one. This one happens every Tuesday. We also have Thursday community calls as well, where we bring back updates from the community, anything new cool that people want to present. So there's lots of calls that you can attend. We've also got the Power Platform call that happens monthly. We've got the Office add-ins call. We've got the bi-weekly calls I've just mentioned. So you've got a plethora, should I say? Someone uses that word a lot, so I'm going to take that on. Plethora of resources, plethora of community calls for you to leverage. And again, you've got invites if you want to get those. Go to akams/community/calls to grab those invites, add those to your calendars, and then you join. And it's sociable. You can join in the chat. As you can see, there's a little banter before you start. So absolutely, you're all welcome, and I encourage you to join if you're interested in these areas as well. So obviously, there are these 3 cool presenters today, but there are opportunities for you to present if you've got a cool project, a community tool, or even an approach to a certain way you do something in the technology stack. Then by all means, apply here to present, and you're not alone. So if you do need support, we will buddy you up as well. So, we can run you through that process, and you'll get all that support for your presentation, and then you can book into a slot. So check out akms/community/request/demo, and fill out the form there, and then we'll book you in for a slot, and then you can present your cool things on one of these either Tuesday or Thursday community calls as well. So absolutely encourage that. We've also got these assets as well for the Microsoft Cloud. So aka.ms M365 Dev Learn. So all these learning modules. So if you're new to development and you want to build up your knowledge, or in quite frequently things change, you want to update your knowledge, then check out these cool resources. We've got one for M365. We've got one for the Power Platform as well. Check those out. Build your knowledge up, and again, when you build something cool, share it back at the community. We've also got over, and it's nice to see that number has just crossed that threshold now, over 2,400 samples from the community. So this is a collection of all the repos that share these samples as well into one central space. So absolutely check that out. You can see examples for a whole range of technology areas for you to learn from, how to do things, approaches, examples, and all sorts as well. Check out aka.ms/community/samples to get access to that and check it out. It's really, really cool. And over to you, David, for your...
Yes, thank you, Paul. Very good. So friend sharing is caring. This is the program that provides you that introduction and hands-on guidance to the community. So if you're thinking, I do love those samples and I want to use them, but even better, I'd love to contribute back to them, but I don't know about that GitHub thing. It is scary. It's a labyrinth of confusion. Don't worry, we got your back. We just had a session yesterday, so we're getting a new date set up for July. Bear with us. We'll get it done in this week, I promise. Yesterday was great. We walked through some new contributors who are now officially empowered, and I already saw contributions that they're making, so it definitely works. It is live, it is hands-on, it is a safe space, which means we do not record it. So you're free to ask any and all questions without fear of those going on record, because we know we're all sometimes a little worried about that. But it is an open opportunity to collaborate. So keep an eye out at ak.ms/sharing is caring, and we will get that next one scheduled out. And then, of course, once you do contribute, we want to recognize you, and that is where our recognition program comes in. All these cool badges you've been seeing everybody share, and I'm not sure what's going on with the font there. We'll get that figured out. Must be the SVG in there or something. But we have got the Star Wars for the next couple of weeks, by the way. I think next week is that last opportunity, and we've got our superhero season starting up. And if you haven't seen those badges, check out the interwebs. We have shared out a preview of them, and we're going to have some surprise drops along the way. These are real, official, and accredited. They are powered by Credly. We have fun with them in the designs, but they do show you're making a difference. So share them with your managers, share them with your clients. Let them know that, hey, you are making a difference in the community. You get a Credly profile that shows all that you've earned. It is absolutely free, but we do need you to opt in. ak.ms/community/recognition. And Kevin in the chat said, when will Spaceball season be? You know what? We actually have some in store for that. So don't you worry that pretty little head of yours. We've got lots in store for the rest of this year and next year. So a lot of fun. Paul, back to you.
I am super looking forward to these badges being released to the community as well. So we've got some conferences happening at the moment. We've got TechCon 365, which is happening now in Seattle. So that's super, super cool. And if you're attending from that conference, in this call, then hello. I hope you're having a wonderful time. We've also got conferences Atlanta and Dallas as well, but in for periods throughout the year as well. So we've got a few of those coming through. And then there's the Power Platform Community Conference in Las Vegas, all very fancy, on the 28th to 30th of October. And there's the pre-workshop days as well. So absolutely, that's where everyone collects for it. It's usually a big event, so I might see a few of those folks there. And also, we've got Microsoft Ignite coming up, so November the 17th. So absolutely get yourself signed up there, and we'll share some cool news for you about all the cool Microsoft tech that's being released and plans for the future as well. So look forward to that as well. We've also got ESPC Dublin. Now, a few of you in the chat, I think, are presenting there. So absolutely go check that out as well. Between the 1st and 4th of December, we've got loads of speakers, loads of tracks. I've been there a few times myself. I absolutely loved it. So check out that community feel. Go get that group hug with the mates that you work with across the globe. So absolutely good excuse to go and hang out with folks. We've also got ECS 2026 in Cologne, Germany. So go register for that at ecs.events and check that out. Again, another European-based, very, very large conference, a giant huggathon. We've got hackathons, but there's huggathons as well. So go check that out with the community. So it's cool. And we've been collating through a list of all these community events come up. I'm just going to flash up on the screen. I'm not going to read it out, but you've got all these events going on. Go check them out in your regions, and hopefully you can then learn some cool stuff about Microsoft Tech, and hopefully join us on future community calls and get to share your experiences and so forth. We have got Copilot prompt library. So this is a place where you can share your cool prompts with the community. So obviously Copilot's a cool thing at the moment. So absolutely go and check that out. Go check them into Copilot, see what it does, see how it plans out and responds to your queries. So we've got the Copilot prompt of the week by Shubham Shukla, who essentially is talking about a peacekeeper AI-powered conflict resolution and de-escalation advisor. So quite a cool prompt there. Lots involved with that, so I'll be interested to see what that comes out with. But yeah, absolutely. Check out that library, AKMS/PMP/ prompt library, to check out all the prompts that you could do with Copilot as well. And it's picture time. David,
that's right. Yep, I do absolutely have it ready. So everybody, if you want to turn on those cameras, we will get together mode turned on. And let me share this. Yep, we're going to do that. And we're going to share this screen right here. And Teams is going to minimize, and then we're going to say open back up Teams. There we go. Excellent. All right. Great to see those smiling faces already. We are doing excellent on time. So we'll give everybody just a minute because I know Teams is sometimes a little slow in the inclusion of all the cameras. So we want to make sure everybody's got an opportunity for that. Yep, still see some popping in. We've got some rows that dynamically and digitally grow. So great to see some happy faces. A couple faces from the Sharing is Caring yesterday. Great to see that as well. I see Stephanie is patting me on the head. Oh, thank you, thank you. Could you get behind my ear, please? Yeah, good. All right, very good. Let's give it a couple more seconds. All right, we'll give it. I see Kevin up there. Excellent. All right. Woo, look at this. Still loading. Okay, my goodness. I feel like we could just sit here all day waiting for everybody. Okay, and Todd right in the middle. Loving it. Okay, let's give it a countdown, everybody. We got to put a cap on it at some point. 3, 2, 1. All right, wave to the community. Love to see you all again. Thank you for being amazing. Todd's got the face. I love it. Wonderful. Great to see you all again. Wouldn't have these opportunities without you and your passion. So we really, really appreciate it. All right, Paul, if you'd like to take on back over the screen share.
All right. So now we have got 3 cool demos. So let's take it away. Over to you, Matt. Are you on the call or ready to present?
I am. Can you guys hear me? I think you guys have got the sessions a little twisted there as far as what we're talking about, but
yeah, something happened there, Matt. Go ahead and we'll get it fixed when you share your screen. I appreciate it.
No worries. Just a second. Let me get things up and running. Here we go. And let's get that on the first slide. There we go. And let's share out the screen. You guys usually have me go in seconds, so I thought I had a little time. Okay, here we are. Okay, so you guys got screen now. There we go. All right, so my name is Matt Barbour. I wear a couple of hats in the Power Platform. I am one of the principal architects responsible for the developer ecosystem for the Power Platform. I am currently assigned to the Copilot Studio part of the organization, and I am also the development manager for the Agent SDK. Which is a integration framework or a hosting framework that we have designed, developed, and built out to support building agents within the Microsoft ecosystem and allowing you to essentially bring whatever it is you want. Now, what I'm going to talk to you guys about today is a little bit about the Agent SDK, but then we're going to dive into a little bit more detail on a new set of APIs that are coming out from the M365, one of our peer organizations. That will give you some access to some new grounding data and some new capabilities around that grounding data. So actually, I just realized that I don't believe I have my camera on. Let me turn my camera on. There we are. Okay, so now, as I was saying, the Copilot Studio, the M365, you can tell I switch gears a lot. Agents SDK provides the capability for you to host pretty much anybody's orchestrator within a capability that allows you to connect into and orchestrate across the various channels and capabilities that the Microsoft ecosystem provides. So for example, let's say that you want to use semantic kernel, and you want semantic kernel to show up in Teams, and you want it to show up in BizChat, and you want it to show up in WebChat, or you want to have it show up in your own custom website, or maybe you just want to leverage it as part of one of your services. The Agents SDK provides the common protocol and the common capabilities to allow you to manage not only hosting the semantic kernel inside that runtime, but connecting with all of those channel capabilities, providing user authorization feature sets, and providing capabilities around state management. So when you're dealing with clusters, or when you're dealing with managing the various aspects of how I horizontally scale this thing, the Agent SDK provides those capabilities into the framework. This is actually part of the underpinning infrastructure that the Copilot Studio is built on. So as I said, when we really look at what the Agent SDK brings to this ecosystem, again, we provide that hosting infrastructure. Actually, it's wrong to say that hosting. We provide the framework that allows you to host it. So if you want to host it on Azure, that's great. If you want to host it on AWS, that's great. You want to host it on your own data center, that's great. You can do that if you want. We supply it in 3 languages, .NET, JavaScript, and Python. .NET is the most complete right now. JavaScript is right behind it. Python is right behind that. So follow our GitHubs. I'll give you some links there at the end, and you'll see that as it progresses out. Now, this is sort of this 50, 60,000 look at what an Agent SDK-based deployment looks like. You have your Agent SDK that's hosting semantic kernel, hosting LangChain, hosting OpenAI as Agent SDK. Whichever orchestrator you want to bring to the party, we can host it inside that infrastructure. We provide integration through both the Azure Bot Service for the existing channels, which also expands out to Azure Communication Services, so we can access those. And you can bring your own. If we don't have a channel that you want, the Agent SDK provides the channel development framework to allow you to build your own channel and integrate it. So across the top in this diagram, we essentially have our channel clients. So we split the world up into clients and into services and then into AI services at the end of the day. So at the very top, we've got our various channels. M365 chat, or what we call biz chat internally, Teams, web chat, Slack, Discord, others, those sorts of things. Aggregating through Azure Bot Service, which is providing our persisted listener, if you will, that is scaled out and managed so that you don't have to deal with keeping your service alive all the time, your store and forward type system. And then the Agents SDK, which then essentially brings your agent to life. From the Agent SDK based agents can talk to each other. We ship a integration with Copilot Studio. We bring in the AI Foundry agent interface as well, so you can communicate with agents out of AI Foundry. And very, very soon, you'll see us bringing in capabilities, and I'll talk just about a bit about this in just a minute, where we can interface with the M365 Copilot API. And then underneath the covers, a little bit further down, you can think of the various orchestrator planners that live out underneath the Agent SDK. So shifting gears just a bit, let's talk specifically about a new set of APIs that are coming out called the Copilot APIs. Now, some of these APIs are live. Some of these APIs are in public preview. Some of these APIs are in private preview. What we're going to focus on for our demo today is the Retrieval API. And I'm going to touch on the interactions and the Meeting Insights API and the Chat API. And again, I'll be providing you links to some documentation where you can dig more into this. Now, these are part of the M365 ecosystems API infrastructure. This is built on the graph endpoint, but in the case of Retrieval, this is not graph search. This is actually a retrieval infrastructure that's built using using very much the same general concept of AI search and the intelligent search capabilities that are built to provide grounding information to any given model. So the design intent is that the Retrieval API can provide you access to your SharePoint information and other sources of information, SharePoint, OneDrive, and other places within your agent, providing that to your orchestrator in a more, how should I say this, AI-friendly way, as opposed to the way that the Graph API works today, the Graph Retrieval API or Search API works today. The team is constantly tuning this, improving this, and making this better. And the design intent behind this is to allow you to host your data where it belongs, in its secure boundaries, without having to pick it up and move it over to Azure Search and build out a whole bunch of infrastructure around just making your grounding data more accessible. Coming down, your interactions export API, that's really about auditing and understanding what's going on inside your M365 ecosystem. And then across to the right, the Meeting Insights API is getting access to Teams summaries, the meeting information about Teams. So in this meeting, you could ask for Copilot to give you a summary, that sort of thing. That's available through that API. And then coming up to the right is the Chat API. Now, on the left, Retrieval, Interactions, both of those are available. Retrieval is in public preview, Meeting Insights is in public preview, Interactions is available, Chat API is in private preview. So you won't find a whole lot of information to be able to get to it. There'll be some documentation, but keep your eyes out. You'll see it in the future. Okay, so I borrowed these slides, so I apologize for the build out there. So the build out, again, it's really built around the idea of providing your orchestrator a more contextually aware means to interact and integrate with the data that lives inside your Microsoft SharePoint ecosystem. So let's flip over here. Now, normally I do a little bit of talk on the Agents Toolkit, which is how we get at a lot of these things, but I have consistently run over, so I'm just going to jump straight into the demo, and we're going to start demonstrating. Just a moment, let me get the demo up. There we go. All righty. So within the environment, those of you that have, I know I'm not supposed to say in the last meeting or whatever, but I've kind of gone through a lot of how this infrastructure works in a couple of previous community calls. I do encourage you to view that. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on how this is all put together, but it is essentially built out on the last one the last community call that we did. So in this case, we have an Agent SDK hosted retrieval agent. Now, this agent, if I pop into the program, is using semantic kernel. It is pulling in semantic kernel, and it's setting up a connection to the Azure OpenAI chat completion agent.
Hey, Matt, real quick, do you mind zooming in a little bit just to make it look a little bit better for the camera and screen share?
There we go. How's that?
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Okay. So here at the top, we have our kernel. This is where we're bringing in semantic kernel. This is where we're bringing in the Azure AI chat completion agent. We are then pulling in a couple of other assets. In this case, we're pulling in the M365 Agent SDK agent. This is our actual agent that is doing work. And then we're setting up some other things. Aside from that, it's a standard ASP.NET hosting site. Our retrieval agent is set up in such a way that when I construct the retrieval agent, I can listen for various events. So in this case, because I'm just demonstrating something very basic, I'm just capturing all message type activities. If the message type activity has the word S out, I call this process sign out because I'm trying to force a sign out. If it doesn't, I route it to this handler, and I'm asking it to have my graph identity available. Now, this is a feature of the Agents SDK ecosystem where we can manage user authentication out to the endpoint. So in this case, we're going to be communicating to the Retrieval API using my identity. I'm not using a service account or anything of that nature. I'm actually using my logged in identity to do the retrieval. So here, we're quickly building out our chat history. So those of you that are familiar with semantic kernel, this is where we're getting our chat history out of our existing state. So if I've got a set of agents that have horizontally scaled out, I can recover a chat history, or I can go create a new one. I'm setting up a service collection that I'm going to hand over to the agent. And as you can see by the name, I literally co-opted the last agent that we talked about in a previous community session and modified it. And we are now reaching in and instantiating that agent. And then we're invoking the agent async. So if I pop into the retrieval agent, this is what my prompt looks like. So here we have a bit of instructions. Everybody who's worked with orchestrators are familiar with this. This is communicating the system instructions that are going to tell the agent what to do. Now, can I read this out of a file? Absolutely. It's just easier for hopping around to not put it here. Then we load up a set of plugins and we pass in the services that we want those plugins to have access to, which include the Agent SDK services, so that things like the turn state and the ability to send events and progressive updates are available, as well as the ability to access the user identity of the current user in the session. And then we have our invoker. Now, our build retrieval plugin, this is actually where the magic happens communicating to the Retrieval API. In this case, what we have as the semantic kernel will decide to call this particular plugin, and it needs to get the access token for the user. So here is my app. That's the thing that I've passed in through here, and I'm getting my user authorization, get the token for the current user using this identity within the system. So we have the ability to set up identities with handlers with various scopes, or we can exchange. You can actually set up something where we have under user authorization the ability to exchange for somebody else's token or for another scope if needed. And then we're setting up the M365 Copilot wrapper. Now, in this case, they are providing a set of SDK clients and libraries that we have available that we will have available here. You can do this all with HTTP, and you can do this all through Graph Explorer should you choose to do so. In this case, we're setting up a bit of a poke, telling the upstream system that we're doing work, and then we're calling the Retrieval API, and we're posting a message with a query. So in this case, I'm asking for SharePoint. I'm sending in a user query, and I filtered this to a specific document. So I don't have to look at the entirety of my SharePoint implementation. I can look at just a specific section or subfolder, plus whatever I'm restricted to for my user access. We let people know that we let the downstream system know that we retrieve that, we're done with this, and we're continuing to process, because of course we're going to take that, turn it back through a couple of turns through the LLM, and we hand that all out. So I'm just going to go boot that up. And then once we have this booted up, and there we go, I am going to go grab let's minimize that. Let's actually pull this up. So first, as we do with most things here, we test to make sure that it works first. So we pop in here into our basic web chat. We confirm that we can connect. There we are. I can say, what are the sessions at Bill? Which is what this particular agent is set up to answer to. Now, in that process, it's communicating out through OpenAI and a couple of other endpoints, and then coming back and giving us an answer based on retrieving information out of SharePoint, which is a document set that is inside SharePoint. Okay, so in this case, I can see that it's giving me some information about this e-bike. If I want to upscale that, we didn't see the progressive notifications. If I want to upscale that into, say, this experience here, I can say, what are here? And as I progress that up, we're again querying out the retrieving. There's our status, or we're talking to the Retrieval API. The Retrieval API will return. We'll get an update. Sometimes it does take a minute. There we go. It happened so fast that the update didn't come through. And then we got our information, and we can dig deeper into it. We, of course, have our document links that, as you can see, point us right out to our SharePoint site. So we have our direct links out to our SharePoint site. Let's say I wanted to ask more information about this, which is inside that document. Tell me about the session. Okay, which once again is going to go back, turn back through our orchestrator and hit our Agent SDK, hit the Retrieval API, and now it's pulling the information straight out of the document and giving that back to us. So that is the Agent's SDK working in conjunction with the Retrieval API. Okay, I think hopefully I'm on time today, so I'm going to go ahead and stop there. One more thing, let me bring up my slides again. We have some links for you guys to look at. So you can get started with the Agents SDK here at this GitHub site. The M365 Copilot SDK, specifically the support libraries, which are also available in .NET, JavaScript, and TypeScript, are also available on this GitHub repo. There's more information here on this Learn site for the Agent SDK, and this link, which will bring up the M365 API overview for the Copilot SDKs. And let's take a quick look at that. And I will pop those open so that we can see what they look like. And you will find a document that looks like this, with some additional information about each API and its capabilities and when it's available. Okay. Thanks all.
Brilliant, Matt. Thank you. Thank you. I'm just going to quickly flash up the screen. So we have updated the slide with the next set of demos. So Fabian, you're up next. If you could take over sharing, and yeah, thank you very much, Matthew, for the really, really cool walkthrough of all the Agent SDK. That was really, really interesting. Yeah. Over to you, Fabian.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me find which one I want to share. I think that's the screen right there. Okie dokie. All right. Let me minimize that. Can everyone see me and also see my screen that I'm sharing? Fantastic.
Yeah, it's all coming through nicely.
Awesome. So let me also grab a link that I wanted to provide everyone. You're going to see it at the end, and you'll understand why in a minute. Control V. Matthew did such a fantastic job there. I love seeing semantic kernel. I think everyone who knows me knows that I love semantic kernel. So this session, you'll notice what's absent from here is the word caps, and even the title is a little bit different, but the key is around observability. And if you've been looking at the things that I've been doing quite recently or talking about, you see me referencing observability, NL web, agent to agent, and also MCP. Model Context Protocol. So you may also at the start of the session heard me and Paulo joking about, this is planning season and we're busy writing docs to figure out, not really figure out, but to lay down what we're going to be doing for next semester because our fiscal year ends basically in a few days. So this is what I'm going to be working on next semester, the semester 6 months. So between now and the end of the year, this is going to be a large focus of my life here at Microsoft. And I'm in the middle right now of actually creating that paper and circulating that paper and actually getting ready to talk to customers about observability. When I did demos before in terms of caps, Copilot agent plugins, and also other semantic kernel, the things that are usually missing from that is how do you know what's going on behind the scenes? And a lot of the things that we hear from our customers as well is we want to see, inside the black box, we want to, get more insight into what we're doing at design time and so on and so forth. So the key to today's session is going to be enhancing your web experiences, which could be your Gen AI experiences with observability. The link that I provided is actually an intake form that I'm using to collect these feedback because, as I said, this is early days. And the one thing we don't want to do is build in the blind and just build what we think people want. We want to be able to actually build the things that customers are going to use in order to make sure that everyone is successful in this. And if you haven't connected with me before, you can connect with me that way on LinkedIn, and I do have a ton of videos also on YouTube. Now, this is a working deck. I'm using it. I'm going to be presenting this in a few, I guess maybe in 2 or 3 weeks to our team, and not all of the sections are there. But I, made it into a place where I can actually share it with you. So we're going to go through some conversation about the different personas that are going to be here, and I'm going to go straight to demo. And I know we may have a large one, it's like 100 and some odd people here today, so we can't do one-on-one questions. But I'm going to actually tease up some things. I encourage you to put things in chat as well, so that, if you have questions, and I see if I can answer some of those at the end. But really what I want you to do today is just open your mind, whether you are a developer, and developer, in two sense, either a low-code developer, a no-code developer, or a professional developer. As long as you're building agents, I'm using that word developer, holistically. Or whether you're an administrator, you're an IT pro, and you're responsible for tenants and, how well things are running. Or if you are a product manager like myself or do product features, this is for you. So the first thing I want to anchor on is what problem are we trying to solve? And where are the benefits? Where's the value? And again, 3 personas. The developer is the first persona I want to talk about because I'm in the developer experiences group of Microsoft Copilot Accessibility. So one of the things that you want to have as a developer, as you're either designing or after you've basically pushed a product, is a few things. This is not exhaustive, but these are basically the big top items. You want to identify performance bottlenecks. The last thing you want to do is to build something that is not performant and it's going to create a bad experience. So you want to find if there's slow spans, periods of work, and especially if you're working in Gen AI, when you're whether you're working on a text coming in and doing some embedding, or you're doing a chat completion. You remember, this is non-deterministic. You not necessarily have an idea of what's coming back, but you don't know how verbose it's going to be. You don't know what's going to come back in terms of content length. So you need to make sure that you're always tuning for performance. You may also want end-to-end tracing, and this is something that's missing even at a segment layer. Let's say that you're building something and it's all encapsulated within your experience. That could be where you may want to have an end-to-end tracing, but you have full control over that. But as we move into an MCP world, as we move into an A-to-A world, agent-to-agent world, you may be a part of a pipeline where you're accepting something coming in and you're pushing something out, and you're all working together because you're all exposing tools. And you want to basically have, exposing yourself as tools, whether it's an MCP or not. Did I hear someone talking? Okay. And you may also want to do optimization strategies as well. So again, the fact that this is non-deterministic, you may notice that the chat completion takes a while. So do you employ some type of Redis caching for things that are commonly asked items to make sure that the response is quicker? So that's as a developer. The next thing you need to think about is did I go too far? Hold on. No. Okay, so I'm one. Next thing you want to think about is as a product manager and get PM insight. So this is the role that I wear, right? So the thing that I want to think about as a PM is, usage analysis and trends that are out there. What does adoption look like? Is this feature that we're pushing out actually working? Are customers using it? Is it really landing? If it's not, then find out why and iterate to make it land. You want to see success and failure rates as well. That's certainly going to be extremely important, because as you bring things out to market, you may have all the ideas in the world of what you think is going to be. But again, something being non-deterministic, it may take turns. And as people are building things on top of these platforms, they may have different ideas than what you had. And you may also want to look at, error trend prioritization. Look at your trends and prioritize bug fixes. This is just something that you do as a PM. There's not going to be a time where you're going to have an empty backlog. There's always going to be a backlog, and you need to make decisions in terms of what you want to prioritize. And let me move to the next one. And as an administrator, the things that are going to be important to you are, as developers are building these solutions and they're putting things inside your tenant for them to work, then, what are the uptimes and what are the error rates tracking? Over time, how, what does this look like? You want to also, in case something has happened, you want to also have an alert, especially around performance issues, because one erroneous item can actually bring down the experience for everyone. So you want to make sure that you catch things early and respond to them. And you also want to look again at dependency health monitoring. And again, because you may have other dependencies as other agents or other backend systems, you may also want to look at that because it's going to impact what you're doing. So observability is quite large. It is both wide and deep. And one of the things that I wanted to do here at Microsoft, and as you can think about Microsoft, I'm not ashamed to say it. Different teams may do things differently, and you see that all over the place. So part of the conversations that I'm having right now is not just external, trying to find out what people would like to see and what people would like to build, but also within Microsoft, talking to the different teams. Talking to the Copilot Studio team, talking to the Foundry team, talking to the Agent Builder team, talking to the SharePoint team. How are you right now tracking inside your experiences observability? And we even have teams that actually have reporting. How are people reporting these things to you? In what format that is it in? Now, one of the things that I like as a person, as a developer myself, and also what I think will actually work, is the ability to use something that is an open standard. Because if it's an open standard, then everyone can understand the contract, whether they can use whatever language that they want, and it will actually work. So what I'm looking at right now is open telemetry, but that's not necessarily mean what we're going to be doing here at Microsoft. However, even if you're not doing it at Microsoft here in terms of how you're doing it within the different teams, if we can adhere to the open standard, then we can actually export to that standard and someone can consume it. And basically, as a developer experience, you can think about it this way as well too. If you're using OpenTelemetry, we already have tooling in place like the OpenTelemetry dashboard with Microsoft Aspire that you can either use in a design time experience or even use in a runtime experience, or you can even push it to Azure Monitor and use the Insight Analytics there as well too. So there are a lot of things that are out of the box. We're not building from scratch, and these are things that are, and tools that are already out there already. So the reason why deep observability matters for AI system platform, again, is all around performance. What you see on the screen, I'm going to do a demo in a few minutes, is actually a trace. And if I step back a little bit, if we're thinking about this in the lens of observability and in the lens of OpenTelemetry, there are really three things that are really key focus areas. One are structured logs. So basically, you're just logging everything as you normally do. And logs are basically a point in time of what happened. This happened, okay? And that's useful when something breaks. When did it break? And I can see where it broke and why it broke. Traces, on the other hand, are based is a little bit more enhanced than logs. Think about it as, a trace can definitely identify a moment in time, but it also can tell you what happened before and what happened after. So it spans a period of time. And that word span is actually useful because a span, a trace is made up of many spans. So the ability to have observability from end to end means that you're creating these spans along your journey, and then you're creating them into traces as people hop around basically that user journey, and you're able to see something holistically. Metrics, on the other hand, is the things like about latency that we talked about before. So you have ideas, and this took a period of time. Let me actually advance one slide. Here's actually a double click inside one of those traces that you saw there. And that basically tells you that this call that happened, this narrative search handler that happened, basically made a call. It called generative AI, which is OpenAI. It did a query into Quadrant. It did an OpenAI chat completion, and it returned some items. And it tells you right here how many milliseconds or how many seconds the entire thing happened. So this is one example of a trace inside that experience that's there. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to pause. I'm actually going to do a demo of something. And as I set this demo up, what I want to show you, and we're going to actually do a runtime demo. So we're not going to do a design time, so you can actually see from a developer. I want you to, because this is brand new, I want you to think about this in the context of a user. So I'm going to bring this over here. Now, as always, I usually build in the open. And because this is an open standard, this is already out there, so you can actually hit this site and actually use it. But I'll tell you the reason why. This doesn't exist right now. And for me to sell it to engineers and sell it to the stakeholders, I want to show them what that vision is. And if you know me for any long time, I only talk about stuff once I've done it and once I can prove it out. So, and I also want to feel the pain of the developer. So this is FHL week at Microsoft Fix Hack Learn, and one of the things I'm doing is actually building this a POC out to actually show what it would look like using another scenario, and say this is how we can do it in terms of how we can do our tools at Microsoft. So what I have here is a community project. You see me do air quotes right there. Usually I frequent breweries and I create something around their menu because a menu is structured data and I can always work with data. So I'm going to actually come here and show you what an Aspire desktop looks like right now. We can all see stuff done at, right now on the East Coast is 11:42. And I did some tests this morning just to make sure. This is actually the screenshot that you saw before. Let me refresh this to make sure that it is still up and running, and it still is. And let me come over here and actually click onto here. The idea here is that we have structured data, and this is structured data. This is a menu of their system. This is coming from a headless, this is a headless CMS, and it has this data. But this is not really useful, except it's telling you what's there. If I come over here and do a search right now, you'll notice that I actually have two types of search. One is called a list search, one is called a narrative search. Let's actually do a list search. Actually, let me do a different one. Let me do this list search right here. Let's do this one. And I'm actually going to come down here and do this and click search. Now, what's happening here, this entire search system runs almost like M365. This search is not a lexical search. It is a semantic search. It literally breaks everything down takes the user query, creates an embedding for that, and it sends it to Quadrant. And Quadrant basically is a database that has the data plus the embedding, and it's able to come up with this information. So if I like barrel age, it gives me a bunch of stuff here about barrel age. But if I come here as well and click this thumbs up, I can actually see, thank you for your feedback. All right, remember this one, vintage, and thank you for your feedback. All right, if I come back over here now to this, you can see here, actually, I have this trace that happened. If I click into it, and I click into this one right here, I can see what options do you have for barrel age. I can see down here the chat completion. I can see how long it took and so on and so forth. Now, I know I'm running out of time, so I'm actually going to push ahead and actually do a different one. I'm going to do the exact same search, Control C, and change it and refresh the screen and change this to a narrative search because it'll demo a lot better. But what I want you to be thinking about here is, what would you like to see from an observability standpoint? This is me priming your mind for what observability can do and some of the things that are of interest and some of the things that we would like to bring to the tooling, whether it's a tooling inside Visual Studio Code, whether it's something inside the Microsoft Admin Center, whether it's something inside a portal that you can go to. We want to make sure that we're building what's right for you. So here we go, with the narrative search. You can see now that it looked at everything you saw in the list search. In fact, it brings back the citations off that. I can click at each of these citations and it'll go there. But it's now giving me a narrative of what's there. So now, if I come back over to here, and actually let me go back and do I'll do a thumbs down this time just to show you something. So a thumbs down, right? So I'll come over here. You can actually see now I did a narrative search. Notice this says 7 this time, previously it said 6. I do a view. I can come inside here and I can see the query that I did, right? I see all of this stuff to Quadrant. It tells me what happened inside here. But if I come here, I can see, sorry, this one, I can see, I click on it? I can see the output, or at least some of the output as well. Where is that thing at? There it is, right. It says we have a refined selection of yada, 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 and you can see that right here as well, right? So we know it's there. Now, what's actually pretty cool is that you also have more observability into here as well, too. If I refresh this screen right here, we can see that thumbs down, and we can see this here. This is basically Azure Storage Explorer, because you don't want to bring everything inside the login because you don't want to make the login bloated. So here you can actually see how we're also capturing that information. And what is this useful for? Remember we talked about enhancing. Now you can actually do evals. So basically, evals are a way to tell, is this working? Is what the person asking what they're expected? And if they do a thumbs up or a thumbs down, you have that, and you can then use it as a feedback loop into your system in order to make your prompt and your experience better. So this is something I'm working on right now. What I would like to ask everyone to do is, again, if you have not, please go ahead and click on that link. I want you to be a part of that journey here, that with me, to figure out how we do observability here, within our Microsoft 365 ecosystem, and for our developer experiences for GenAI. I'm not sure if did I run over time, David?
Just 2 minutes, just a little bit. So it's really, really good, Fabian. So thank you very much. That was a brilliant demo, and I aspire to be like you in the future. To see what I did there. Nice. So yeah, really, really cool. So we are running slightly over, but that's okay. Well, we've got another great demo from Katerina. So if you could take over sharing, Katerina, and then we can take it away.
Yes. So now I think that you should see my screen. Please confirm.
Yep, it's all good. Yep, all good.
Yeah, cool. So let's start. Okay, thank you very much for inviting me. My name is Katerina Chernevskaya, and today I'm very excited to demonstrate Term-Bodied, the lightweight, extensible platform that helps organizations build consistency to how they name and understand things. We crafted this solution together with my beloved partner, Agent Chernevskaya, during the hackathon, PowerFull Devs Hack, in winter this year. Artem is MVP in Azure AI. I'm MVP in BizApps. Together we are Microsoft certified trainers. We are living in Bulgaria, and we love to build solutions in the Microsoft ecosystems and share our knowledge. So feel free to connect with us via LinkedIn and come and say hi at any events where we will meet across the world. So you've probably heard about this story of the Tower of Babel, where people spoke different languages and could no longer understand each other. Well, welcome to most organizations today. Different departments often have different definitions for the same word. For example, customer in finance is not the same as customer in sales, or region might mean something to marketing and something else completely different to logistics. And while we do have technical metadata tool, they are not so useful for employees, and that's why we decided to build a solution that brings terminology management closer to users through conversations. So let's see how it is working from the user perspective. Instead of providing users a ton of documentations and drop-down lists, for instance, we built an intuitive user interface where people can chat with smart and friendly assistants. So let's say, for instance, I'm an employee who is onboarding in a new department, and I keep hearing a new mysterious term like SQ, and I'm curious, what is it? So I can go ahead and open my assistant and just chat, ask what is SQ. And this intent, hopes the demo guides will be on my side, goes to the LLM, and LLM generates yes definition for me. I can also ask to renew definition and receive fresh new explanation of this term to go deeper, or I can ask for example to illustrate this term and understand this better, or I can even ask for generation a quiz for me to check if I understand this term correctly, properly, and I can answer based on my knowledge, or I can guess what is the right answer. For instance, for this purpose, let's select option 3, which is incorrect, I guess. And if I answer correctly, the assistant can congratulate me, or otherwise it can say that no, you are wrong, and explain what should be the right answer. So in this case, we provide not documentation, not like a documents. We deliver the intuitive interface and provide extensive definition that LLM generates. We provide explanation, refreshing examples, and small quiz that people can use to check their knowledge. And let's discuss a little bit what is under the hood. So this is architecture that illustrates the all components of our solution. We already saw that user interaction starts in the teams, and also this solution could be used in the Copilot chat and Microsoft 365 Copilot. So it is very natively integration for this. Copilot Studio acts as an orchestrator. It receives user intent, users' questions, and what they like to do, and doing some activities. For instance, using Power Automate, it push information to the Dataverse tables to collect all in data that we are going to use later for our administrator panel to make data-driven decisions. And also at the same time, Copilot Studio forward information to the Azure staff. In the Azure, we are following well architecture framework best practices, and we would like to make sure that our solution is stable, secure, and we can repeat this deployment across all our environments. On the Azure part, the central part is AI Foundry, where we can build a prompt flow. We selected this technology because it provides a comprehensive tools that allows us to configure logic. We can utilize Azure Open AI models, and not only Azure Open AI, other models that are available like Mistral, V3, etc., etc. And once we are ready with prompt flow, we can create a deploy endpoint that provides us a RESTful API. And we can use this RESTful API whenever we want in Copilot Studio, in other UI interfaces. It's up to us. And last but not least, prompt flow allows us to use extensive list of metrics to evaluate how it works. So in this case, we can split our UI from our backend, so front end from our backend, and test these separately. And if we have any issues, we can identify and resolve it very quickly. Additionally, to follow best practices, we would like to store all analytics. And in this case, in Azure Blob Storage, in local analytics workplace, we store extensive data that are coming from our endpoint. And using Azure Application Insights, we can have access to this data, analyze it, and if something is going on, we immediately can understand what is happening. And also, because we would like to have a secure solution, we utilize Key Vault, where we're storing all secrets and all API keys, and use it across all our Azure resources and in our Power Platform components as well. The best part, which I'm very proud of this solution, is that we deployed all these resources not manually, but with bicep scripts. For this, we have template bicep script, which provides like an orchestrator and has all parameters that we would like to specify and keep information, what modules, like what services we would like to deploy. And all modules, we split, all resources, we split into different models. And for instance, here AI Hub deploy for us resources like Azure AI Foundry Hub, Azure AI Foundry projects, etc. And we use parameters and variables to pass different values from one module to another module. So we do not need to hard code these values at all. And additionally, using bicep scripts, we can specify the budget file and configure budgets in our Azure subscription. It is important because everything that you build in the Azure is consumption-based, and you would like to have control on the budget, how much money you will spend. So by configuring these budgets, you can specify how often you would like to monitor monthly, quarterly, or annually, when you would like to start, when you would like to finish, what is threshold. Let's say you would like to spend no more than $100 per month, let's say, and you can specify the threshold notifications. Let's say when you reach 50% of this threshold, you will be notified and you will know that, okay, now I'm in the middle and I need to perform some activities, some actions. So this is an important part. Why? Because when you specify everything in the bicep scripts, you can be sure that this infrastructure can be repeatable deployment, and your development team can rapidly and very fast implement this infrastructure for the different environments, and you ensure of consistency that everything will be deployed in the same way. And when you are going to the Azure portal, let me see where it is. So I think here. So when you are going to the Azure portal, you will see all resources that was created for you, and you can go to the deployment and check that everything was deployed successfully, and you can see the duration is very fast. So this is a very good, and I encourage you to employ this approach in your project as well. Now let's see one additional thing that we implemented. Okay, so we also thought that some people in the organizations would like to see analytics, and these people are not developers or IT guys, like IT managers, knowledge management specialists, etc., etc. And for them, going to Azure portal, even to the Azure Application Insights, it's too much. So for them, we deployed the Canvas app application, where we provide the comprehensive information about how many messages was made for the given period of time, how many quizzes run, examples, etc., etc. What are the top 10 terms that users search, and so on. Additionally, we allow our administrator to change system message where they can specify their domain-specific vocabulary, for instance, or narrate the LLM how to answer more formal or more casual, etc. We are also keeping the limit of characters that we specify in our solution. And the best part of this administrative portal, the admin can select what kind of backend they would like to use. By default, we are using developer management environment. It means that we provide Azure stuff on our end as a developer. But once everything will be ready on the customer tenant, the customer can simply switch to this installation, provide required information like endpoint to the prompt flow, the model name, and also as we keep secure in our application, we do not want to expose the API key right in this UI. We would like to link to the key vault secret. So in this case, the developer should provide the Azure subscription ID, resource group name, the name of the key vault resource, and the secret name. And one interesting thing that if you would like to save these into environment variable, you need to save not field by field. You need to concatenate all these fields into one string with some additional values. In this case, you will be able to store this information to your environment variable. And the last screen that we have, it's just an information about our application and where you can download this. Everything is completely free and you can download it for your purpose. And let me show you the QR code. By following this QR code, you will be able to get access. So to wrap up, I would like to say that we often think that technology challenges come from bad data or, for instance, disconnected systems, but more often it's just about that people are not speaking the same language. And TermBuddy doesn't just help machines understand each other, it helps humans align on meaning in the way that's accessible, that's consistent, and governed. And everything starts with a simple chat conversation. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I think I am in time.
Brilliant. Oh, thank you, Katerina. That was an amazing demo. I really, really enjoyed that. And congratulations for your PowerFull Devs Hackathon winner. So that's such an awesome demo. Brilliant. Right. I'm just going to reshare my screen and just for the last few bits to wrap up after these cool demos. 1 second. And then, yeah, so the fun doesn't end here. So we do have a Thursday session. So we've got 3 new cool demos on our community call on Thursday, so absolutely check that out. There's a call invite and so forth. We've got Reshmi and Lee, and we've got Shrishti and Ileana presenting some cool demos on Copilot and various other technologies as well. So check those out. I highly encourage you to do that. Also, if you want to connect with other people like you so perhaps you're new to the community, you want to get to meet folks, check out our Discord channel. We've got nearly just under 3,000 members, so it's grown nicely, where you can share your tech stories, speak to folks that are like-minded and use those technology areas so you can sort of network and get to know them as well. So absolutely check that out and connect yourselves with other like-minded folks so outside these calls. Also, if you would like to feedback on these demos, we absolutely encourage that. We love feedback, positive, negative, whatever you like. Of course, you know, since I hosted today, all positive, I hope. But nevertheless, I'm happy to learn. So absolutely give feedback on these calls because we'll bake that in. We'll improve the next time and make things even cooler for the next presentations. So thank you very much. This recording will be available on YouTube within 24 hours around that time. Also, we have got LinkedIn and Blue Sky and Twitter handles as well, so you can check it out and connect to those community calls as well. And again, like I said, the community takeover call on Thursday, July the 1st. Tuesday, July the 1st. As part of the next part of our series as well. So check out all of our community calls on the link at the bottom, and hope you have a wonderful evening and day. So thank you, everybody, and pleasure, and thank you for all the demos.